Hi there, and thanks again for tuning in to this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. We had a very interesting week last week. We had two exciting webinars, and the first one, which I'd like to tell you a little bit about in case you weren't able to join us, was all about long stay vacations. As I mentioned before, we've been giving some thought as to what the future holds in travel and where our members' interests might lie, particularly in the context of the complications that are going to be presented to us in terms of traveling around, particularly air travel. For the short term, it does seem it's going to be quite a bit more onerous. And so we're going to think carefully about the places that we go and the number of times that we're going to want to get on and off of airplanes. And so the idea of a long stay vacation is that we go to a place and we spend 3 or 4 weeks or perhaps even longer. It gives us a chance to get to know the country, the region a little bit more closely, as well as we can relax for a little bit. And of course, if we do this during the winter months, then it's nice to get away from those cold Canadian winters. So this past Tuesday, we talked about 4 different destinations. We had quite some member input, actually, which was very helpful for us in terms of planning. We presented Costa Rica, as well as Madeira, Thailand, and a surprise one that I put into the mix, which was Cyprus in the Mediterranean. And to summarize it all, of course, you can watch that webinar again. There's a link to it in the blog below. But what was very interesting is that despite the fact that long stay vacations are typically done in the wintertime when we might want to get away from the cold weather anyway, that not so much the tropical destinations, but rather the temperate ones, Madeira and Cyprus, were the ones that were overwhelmingly favored by our members who were in attendance. Madeira, of course, is a volcanic island south of the Azores, off the coast of Africa. It belongs to Portugal. Spectacular coastline, scenery, and the main city of Funchal has a lot of history, interesting things to do, and of course, wintertime is off-season there, so it's not so crowded with tourists. And the other one that was favored, as I mentioned, was Cyprus, of course, an island to the south of Turkey, perhaps best known for the fact that, of course, it was divided for many, many years because both Greece and Turkey claim rights to the island. That dispute has largely been stable for quite a number of years, and Cyprus has become a super popular destination for sun seekers going there in the summertime, so at this time of the year. But in the wintertime, it can be equally beautiful because it's one of the sunniest places in all of Europe. And the temperatures are quite mild, sort of in the high teens. And again, beautiful coastlines, walking trails. You can find out about all the details about that and what we discussed, as I say, by looking at a recording of our webinar, which is in the blog below. And so we're going to proceed forward on those and hopefully perhaps even this coming winter, depending on the situation with global travel, might be an opportunity for us to explore those places. On Thursday, we also had a launch of our newest program, Yachting the Turkish Mediterranean. And this is a program that was rated very high in our Trip Inspiration Survey late last year. And so we put a program together which I think is quite delightful. And the highlight, of course, is one of these spectacular wooden Turkish gulets that I've managed to charter. So we'll likely be a small group. If we have one gulet, it would be about 12 people. If we have 2, we might have as many as 20. But we would cruise along the beautiful turquoise blue waters of the Mediterranean, as well as taking in cities like Istanbul and another smaller town on the Aegean coast. So again, the recording of that webinar you'll find in the link in the blog below. And if you're interested at all, we'll be going in October of next year. The newest program that we're going to launch in a couple of weeks' time will be the replay, if you will, of our Croatia and Adriatic Coast program. Of course, we weren't able to go like so many of our other programs. We've had to postpone until next year. So we're going to be going back in October of 2021. And although we were sold out this year, we may have a couple of cabins on a beautiful new ship. It's a different ship we were going to go on than this year. And so details on that you can find out on August the 13th at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We will be presenting Croatia and the Adriatic Coast, our trip for next year in 2021. So Lots of happenings here at Wheel and Anchor as always, and I look forward to your feedback and to coming back to you again next week.